They say you don't own the land owns you. Yeah, I know how that sounds. All philosophical and dramatic. But if you've ever stood barefoot in the cold mud at sunrise, feeling the river, breathe beneath the mist, you know it's true. That patch of earth behind my house wasn't just property. It was bloodline. My father bought that stretch of river before I was born. A thin, winding bend just outside the old mill town, South Fork carving slow through the valley. You can't tame a river, son, he used to tell me, but you can learn to live beside it. He taught me to read the willows for rain, measure flood lines in tree bark, listen for the warnings nature gives before she ever thinks about knocking. We fished for catfish in the dark, built driftwood forts all summer, huddled together with sandbags when the water rose each spring. After he died, I stayed. Didn't matter that most neighbors had long since sold out to the HOA, cashing in their old homes for stucco McMansions on flowered cul-de-sacs. My deed was in my name, and that acre of wild land all the way down to the water was mine, fair and square. The new folks didn't get it. The HOA took over, gobbling up every yard they could, pushing banners, rules, and community vision. But I'd never signed a single covenant, and I sure as hell wasn't about to let some committee tell me how to mow, what lights to hang, or whether my mailbox was up to code. I was the square peg in their plastic grid, and, man, they hated that. You want to meet the personification of that hatred? Karen. Yeah, that's her real name. Clarissa Layton on paper, but everyone knew. She was HOA president, platinum hair, sunglasses like windshields, always showing up with a fake smile and a basket of welcome muffins, as if I hadn't lived there before she even knew how a mortgage worked. Welcome to the neighborhood, she chirped, and I just stared back. I am the neighborhood. She didn't like that. Not even a little. Soon, she was back at my door every few weeks, hinting that maybe the Riverbank could be community space. Then the flyers started, Riverwalk Estates expansion. Imagine a world-class riverside escape for all. Are you in? Spoiler, I was not. But the real fight started when they bought the pecan orchard across from me, bulldozed the trees, poured foundations, and called it Riverwalk Resorts. Every night, construction lights lit up the water, and I'd walk the bank, thinking of my father, how he'd warn. The river always takes back what's hers. But try explaining that to Karen, who thought you could control nature if you just filed enough paperwork. Then, one Saturday, I found surveyors staking flags right through my wetlands. Excuse me, I said, you're on private land. They waved a laminated HOA map, my land, faint pink, sliced by a dotted future access route. That evening, Karen arrived, clipboard in hand, smile as sharp as barbed wire. There's been a misunderstanding, she purred. The easement backs up to the HOA's connectivity plan. It's for the greater good. I stared at her. You bring your people onto my land. Again, I call the sheriff. She just smiled. This isn't about you, Mr. Vance. It's about the community. That's when I knew she'd never stop. Not until someone forced her. The next week, trucks rolled in, Harmonia Outdoor Concepts, clear stream pools, blaring their logos like a funeral for nature. They set up a metal fence just feet from my shed. I walked out. You're on the wrong side of the line, I said, pointing at the old ditch. The crew shrugged, just following orders, sir. Take it up with the HOA. So I did. Karen, under a white canopy, surrounded by blueprints, acted surprised. We consulted legal, the easement's in our rights. You're bluffing, I shot back. She only smiled. Hire your own attorney. I went home, rage simmering. That night, I dug through my father's files, found the old surveys, the flood maps, every plat and deed. Called the county clerk, ordered certified copies. It'd take a week. Meanwhile, HOA beautification. Crews installed tiki torches behind my fence, laid gravel where my wildflowers used to grow, and my neighbors applauded. They called Karen the River Queen. Brochures promised serenity, AI renderings of golden hour bliss, paddleboard yoga, kids in matching robes. I caught teenagers taking selfies under my willows. Sir, can you move? You're in the background. I almost lost it. Then a letter appeared, taped to my door, notice of noncompliance. Unsightly vegetation, unapproved structures, erosion risk. It was war. When they poured concrete for a patio on my riverbank. I'd had enough. You're on my land again, I yelled at the foreman. He barely looked up. If you've got a complaint, take it up with the HOA. I took photos, backed them up in 3 places. They didn't stop. Patio turned into deck, deck into tiki hut, my wild grass buried under fake turf. Next morning, my mailbox was gone, replaced with a shiny black one. HOA seal stamped in chrome. Another letter, violation notice. They were calling my land a violation. I called the sheriff. Deputy shrugged, civil matter. File an injunction. I stared at the river, low and quiet, always looks peaceful before it rises. At the county office, the clerk showed me the records, temporary permit, bundled under Riverwalk Estates, signed off by the board. No signature from me. Not unheard of. She said, but if you believe it's wrong, get a land use attorney. Fast. I did. Helen Weiss. She didn't blink. You have the original deed? Yes. HOA bylaw connecting them to your land? No. Then they're out of line. She drafted a cease and desist, cited every law she could. We mailed it. Karen answered by sending landscapers who sprayed herbicide on everything. Native grasses, irises. Even my private property sign. I filmed the whole thing. Helen filed a restraining order. The judge issued an injunction. Karen sent her lawyer, too small suit, fumbling arguments. I showed my evidence. The judge stopped them cold. No one modifies this land until we investigate. Vindication. But the river wasn't done. Rain started, slow and steady. Water crept higher every night. The HOA built lanterns, fire pits, an amphitheater. Karen shot promo videos in front of the rising water. This is what vision looks like, she smiled, lotus murals glowing behind her. I warned the city council. 2 minutes, blank stares. We have their environmental report. I snapped. Commissioned by themselves, not peer-reviewed. No one cared. Then the flood came. Fast and brutal. The deck vanished. Cabanas washed away. People scrambled up the slope, Karen slipping in the mud, shrieking at the water as her kingdom fell. Sirens howled, but the river had already decided. By morning, 27 homes were in the red zone. 3 condemned, 5 with major damage. The HOA's luxury resort reduced to splinters. Karen was nowhere to be seen. Rumor was she'd had a breakdown, convinced it was sabotage. Yeah, it was the sabotage of arrogance by the force of nature. Cleanup was chaos. Reporters swarmed. Karen tried to spin the story, blamed the weather, blamed community resistance. I stood up at the meeting, showed my proof, photos, flood maps, warnings. People finally listened. Lawsuits came. The board resigned. The HOA dissolved. State fines. Environmental violations, court-ordered damages. And still, I didn't build a single new thing. No benches, no platforms, just wild seeds and native grass, letting the river heal the scars. Now, I walk the bank every morning. I see herons standing where the floating dock used to be, watch neighbors slow down, just to notice the wildflowers. Sometimes someone asks, why not build something nice? And I just smile. The river doesn't need anything from me. It just needs space. You know what I mean? Because in the end, justice doesn't always come like a judge's gavel. It can roar. But sometimes it's quiet. Sometimes it's just the return of wild grass and bird song, the hush of leaves, the feeling that you did right by the land. So I let the river run, and this time, it let me rest. If you've got an opinion about who was right or wrong, if you think community rules should ever trump common sense or nature's warnings, let me know down below. Was I just stubborn? Was Karen out of line? What would you have done? Comment your thoughts. Let's talk about what justice and real community actually mean.